In our last lesson, we looked at the descriptive essay, and we said that the descriptive essay helps you to illustrate something in a way that your reader can see, feel, or hear whatever it is you're talking about. Today's lesson is going to be on the argumentative essay. The argumentative essay. It is a writing piece that is meant to persuade. But before we go into that, let's quickly look at the objectives of this lesson. At the end of this lesson, you should be able to give the basic definition of an argumentative essay, state the main aim of an argumentative essay, and you should be able to state the elements needed for a good argumentative essay. Okay? Now let's proceed. Kamsi is a teenager whose parents have set a curfew for, but she wants to stay out longer. She thinks that she might be able to convince her parents to extend the curfew period if she makes a good argument. To make an argument, she has decided to write them a letter. Okay? Now before we move further, let's quickly find out what an argumentative essay is. It is a writing piece that is meant to persuade someone to think in the way that one does. It is a writing piece that is meant to persuade someone to think in the way that one does. Persuasion, take note of it. It's a key word in argumentative essays, okay? It is the act of getting what you want. Persuasion is very important as far as argumentative essays is what concerned. Though argumentative essay is usually organized as an essay, Kamsi's letter to a parent is a type of argumentative writing. Okay, so I don't want you to get confused. Oh, we're talking about argumentative essays. Why is she saying letter? Kamsi's letter to a parent is a type of argumentative writing. Now, to help her write a letter, let's take a closer look at the elements, very important, and the format of an argumentative essay. Okay? Now, Kamsi wants to convince her parents to give her a letter curfew. Now, she wants to write a letter to them. Okay? But the question now is, where does she even start from? What information does she need to include in her essay? This is where the elements of an argumentative essay comes in. I want you to listen attentively, okay? The first element is the position. The position is the side that the writer is on, okay? Kamsi is of the opinion that her curfew time should be extended. Don't forget that. If all she says is, I think you should extend my curfew time, which in this case is her position, what do you think would be the parent's reply? If you were a parent, I'm sure what you say is no. Just as a parent said, no, we disagree. Okay? Because the truth is, the position is not all that Kamsi needs in an essay. In fact, if the position is all she states, she would definitely not get a favorable reply. Okay? Now, in order to convince her parents, Kamsi needs to include reason. Now, the reason becomes the second element in an argumentative essay. Take note, the first element was the position. The reason becomes the second element in an argumentative essay. Kamsi could support a position by offering reasons like, oh, mom, I'm responsible, I'm older than I used to be, a later curfew will allow me more time to study. Wow, parents want to hear that. Oh, my child wants to study. So the reason added to her position is already giving her, making her stand on a good side. Okay? Now, let's continue. By offering these reasons, Kamsi has made her letter to be more convincing. Okay? To be more convincing. Now, it doesn't just end there. She can even take this step further by supporting her reasons with the third element, which is the evidence. Okay? The evidence. Alright. Remember that one of Kamsi's reasons is that a later curfew will allow her to study at the library for longer hours. She can support her reason with the evidence, which again I said is the third element in an argumentative essay. The evidence could be a scientific article that shows that studying at the library is more effective than studying at home. The second evidence could be a data showing that kids with later curfews spend more time in the library. Now, both of these pieces of evidence could support Kamsi's reason. If you were to be Kamsi's parent, you start thinking of reconsidering now. Oh, I told her no before, but I think she's actually making a point. Alright? Now, to be truly effective, Kamsi would want to include the source of her evidence. After all, if she just made it up, it's not really evidence, right? Besides, the source of some evidence can be questionable. Imagine that she has an article about, let's say, how kids with later curfews spend more time at the library, but this article was actually written by someone who, like Kamsi, is trying to convince his parents to let him stay out later than the usual time. In this case, the article might not be completely accurate and true. Don't you agree? Now, I want to ask you a question. Do you agree that if all Kamsi includes in the essay his position, reasons, and evidence, she could make a pretty convincing case? Do you think if that's all she has, oh, I've stated my position, she has her reasons and the evidence, she could make a pretty convincing case? The truth is, I know that most of you will be tempted to say yes in this situation, but the truth is that the best essays also include what we call the counter argument. It is often referred to as a counter. Now, the counter argument becomes the fourth element in our list. Don't forget that the first one was the position, the second reason, the third evidence, and the counter argument, which is often referred to as a counter, is the fourth element. Now, let's take for instance that Kamsi's parents tell her consistently that, oh, teenagers need sleep, they need sleep. She knows this is one reason why her parents don't want to extend her curfew. So in her letter, she can address this issue and provide a counter. Okay? But before we do that, let's actually find out what the counter argument is. It is that viewpoint that opposes the writer's main point. It is the reason why one feels that the writer's viewpoint is not correct. So, for example, Kamsi could say, you'd believe that extending my curfew will mean I get less sleep. But I stay up late already, and just because I'm home early doesn't mean that I will go to bed early. Okay? And this is actually true. The fact that you get to your house early doesn't mean you have to sleep early. Don't you agree? Okay. Now, Kamsi's reasons and evidence supports her side. So by providing these counter arguments too, Kamsi is defeating arguments from the other side, which makes her essay more convincing. Alright? Now, it is good to know that Kamsi now knows what to fix in her essay. But the next question is this: how does she organize all that information that she has? This brings us to our next subtopic, which is the format of an argumentative essay. The format of an argumentative essay. Okay? Argumentative essays are organized in many different ways, but one popular format is the 5-paragraph essay, which indicates the heading, the introduction, the 3 body paragraphs, and of course the conclusion. Okay, so what is the introduction about? Let's find out. Kamsi would want to explain her issue here and state her position. She would mention that staying out late is an issue that is important to many people. She can equally state here that she believes that a curfew time should be extended. One thing I want you to take note of is this: you have to listen carefully. Anything that needs to be understood before reading the rest of your essay is your background information. And guess what? The background information must be in the introductory paragraph. Anything that needs to be understood before your reader reads the rest of your essay is the background information. It should be in your introductory paragraph. Okay? Now, from introductory paragraph, Kamsi will write the 3 paragraphs which forms the body. Okay? Kamsi will write 3 paragraphs collectively that will make up the body of the essay. She would want to focus on one reason or a counter, and may also include evidence to support it. Or she gives a reason, she gives a counter, she gives evidence to support it, to make her work more appealing, or the later more convincing rather, to the parents. She might want to write 1 paragraph on the idea that she's older and more responsible than she used to be, and therefore deserves a later curfew. Another paragraph could be on the counter that an earlier curfew does not mean that she will get more sleep, which is actually true. And this moves on from there to the conclusion. Here, Kamsi will include a restatement of her position and a brief summary of her reasons and counters. And guess what? Kamsi is true. Okay? So this is where we'll call it a day for the lesson. But before we do that, let's quickly do a review of what we learned in this lesson. We started with an argumentative essay. Don't forget that the main aim of an argumentative essay is to what? To persuade your reader. Argumentative essays are like superpowers. They allow you to get what you want using your superpower of what? Persuasion. It is that writing piece that is meant to persuade someone to think the way you do. Oh, I feel the male child is more useful at home than the female child. Okay, you've said that. The next thing will be making the person to actually follow your own line of thought, to believe that, okay, I think Frederick is actually making a point. I believe what Frederick has said. It's all about what? Convincing. Now, you choose a topic, you take a position, you gather evidence, you present your argument logically, and of course, you do one important thing, which is to provide counter argument. It makes you look more knowledgeable. Okay? And then we looked at the elements of the argumentative essay. We talked about the position, the reason, the evidence, and of course, the counter arguments. All right? This counter argument makes you look more knowledgeable. Makes you know that gives your reader this impression that you're not biased. You actually know what it takes. You know what the side A is about and the side B is about. So you have an in-depth knowledge of what you've been asked to write on. Okay? From there, we moved on to the format of an argumentative essay. We said it includes the heading, the introductory paragraph, the body, and of course, the conclusion. Okay, so that is it. Now, I want to advise you, and it's very important. Note that great works are performed not by strength, but by perseverance. Okay? So even when you're tempted to give up, oh, I'm so tired, I can't continue, I still need to answer questions on writing skills, vocabulary is there, I've not even done my maths, you just have to keep persevering. Yes, endurance. You keep managing. Try. Even when you feel so weak, tell yourself, no, I am not going to stop because I am tired. I am going to stop when I am done with my work. Okay, as you do this, you see yourself attaining greater heights. You see yourself becoming better at what you do. And trust me, you'd have this kind of joy, this fulfillment inside of you when you begin to persevere, endure, stress. Oh, you just see it as it's a normal thing. It's a sacrifice I have to pay if I want to become a fulfilled individual in future. All right? Okay, so until I come your way next time, I want you to stay safe, study so hard, and be good. All right?